This is a time in the program where you can see there are a couple of mics out in the audience here. Also, for those of you that are on the program are online with us, we have somebody personing the chat room, and so we'll collect those questions as well. And Soni, Reverend Soni, if you'll join us. And so we want to take your questions. We've given you a lot of information today, haven't we? Yeah. And you might have a question or two about some of the things. So if you do have a question, I'm going to invite you to come up to the mics so that everybody can hear your question, and we will do our best to answer them or get more information for you. Yeah.
Can I get in here? And also we have our amazing team up here that are here to answer questions as well. And so they're going to kind of signal me as soon as they want to take one, and we'll all do this together. We have the camp here too. Casey's here to answer any questions around that. And so whatever's on your hearts, take it away. We'll start with Reverend Sunshine Michelle.
Yes, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman from Oakland, California. Beautiful business meeting. You're right, the best one I've ever attended. My question is about membership. What I'm experiencing and observing in my community is that, as we know, the pandemic has challenged a lot of things. And it certainly has challenged the view of membership because, in my view, because people have the opportunity to get inspiration in a lot of different places. I've even had people tell me I'm not a joiner, but they come regularly. So what I know is that membership is connected to a lot of different things. As I was thinking of this when Deirdre was up there talking about the nomination process, so it has to do with offices we run for and different things that are attached to membership. So I am needing in my community to help our community figure out something else so that we can acknowledge those people who are in the house and support us and don't want to join necessarily, but it affects our numbers and a lot of different things. My question and curiosity is, are you all seeing that at the home office level? And if so, what are your thoughts, or what are you thinking to do about it? Because when I heard Reverend Alice talking about the ODM, you better believe it's probably all over the bylaws and the ODM and what have you. So maybe we won't change the word membership, but what do we do with this?
Excellent question. I'm going to allow Reverend Julie to kick it off.
Thank you, and thank you for that question. We do see a difference, definitely after the pandemic. It's changed dramatically. And some communities have changed their membership definition and structure. And just as an FYI footnote, usually that definition can be found in the bylaws, so if you change it, it needs to be a membership vote, and to be in conversation about that. So some communities have come together and been in that discussion together and have defined their membership together based on what's showing up and what people want to do and how they want to be defined. A lot of times membership in the past has been defined by serving and giving of your time, talent, and treasure, and it's typically laid out and specified in the bylaws. Yet there's now been an outer layer, an outer definition, and that can come with various benefits that may not include all of the benefits that a more interior, closer to the center type of member could be. So you have the opportunity to look at the definitions of your membership, be in conversation with your community, and see if there is a desire to create different levels of membership. Yet with your participation within the organization, it's based on average weekly attendance and not membership. So I just want you to know that, because it's that average weekly attendance number that defines the delegates. I hope that answered your question.
Good job. Okay, next question. Oh, this side.
Hi, Neil Pinkman, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey. The presentation before by Ty and what's been going on in the organization to streamline and reduce the costs and expenses, it's impressive. That's really great. But my feeling is we need to do a much greater job at bringing people in and increasing income as opposed to just reducing expenses. I noticed that, and unfortunately I missed the first 2 or 3 minutes of Holly's presentation, but I noticed it said develop a marketing plan, which leads me to think that there was one that didn't work or there wasn't one before. But like we say in the business world, it's not what it costs you, it's what it makes you. And we need to get people into the centers. And what are we doing to let people know that we exist? And what is the marketing plan? Can you expand on what, if it's not set yet, what's the vision for letting people know that we're here?
Good question. So we are flying the plane while we build it. So there's that, you know, there's just getting a website that works correctly, that has accurate information has been the first piece. But we have formed a task force, a marketing task force, and we are developing the plan. So I can't give you like the inner workings of it, but we will have it developed in 2024. I can tell you that. And right now, between the website and the Science of Mind magazine, those are our 2 main conduits right now. And we're looking to enhance that and expand that outside of our walls. We'll have press here for one of the first times for our general session to cover Dr. Sean Ginwright. So we're putting the pieces together, and then in those pieces, that's what will build out the plan. And if you have thoughts around, ideas around that, please reach out to Holly.
Yeah, I'm happy to volunteer. I'm happy to be available. A quick question, just a follow-up, because I know that the magazine has been one of the biggest marketing pieces there is. Years ago, we were informed that 75% of the people that subscribe to that magazine are not members. Has that percentage shifted? Are we making progress with like bringing some of those people in, or is it still 75?
It's less than 75 now, but it's still a high percentage. Yeah.
I want to contribute to that question.
Okay.
I'd also like to contribute to that question, and thank you for that question. One of the things that with Tune In Tuesday that we're talking about is collaboration versus competition. And I have a vision. I have a vision of centers working together to promote CSL, which will in turn promote the centers themselves. I mean, I have a vision of seeing a billboard, you know, that says who CSL is, find a center near you. If we pool our resources, if centers and communities and focus ministries and teaching chapters combine their resources, how great is that? Where we're not one individual community has to pay for it all, for example, but we contribute together as one face and one message, and that is Centers for Spiritual Living. How else are your members going to find out that we're there? Are you with me?
Thank you. All right, we have an online question.
Yes, and it's actually in keeping with what has been asked before, but it's a little bit different. Robert from Oakland CSL said that many centers are struggling right now to build membership and increase revenues. And what specific tools and support is Home Office offering to the field to improve this situation? I also had a comment from Paul from CSL Charlottesville, who did acknowledge that the marketing support and advice for local centers would be very helpful. So
So one area with that is the global themes and all the resources around the global themes, and that is directly to support the centers. A part of the Resource Development Committee is developing the plan. It will be developed in 2024. A part of that plan is resources to the communities and to the field in development. And that is a big piece that is coming in. And so both of those, we have been, and this is something for us to think about as an overall organization, so much of providing resources to the centers to take out to their communities. And it looks like we're moving in the direction, especially with what Reverend Soni just said, and building collaborations in the communities, because it is all of us working together, being better together around those ideas. And we're in the process of strategic planning as well, which will be supporting everything that we're talking about right now. So a lot of behind the scenes planning is happening, and we'll start to see the fruits of that in 2024. We do give quite a bit of updates on what's going on the newsletter and the connection call, so I invite everybody to please dial into that, because it helps you see the inner workings in what's taking place that then can go back out into the communities. And we post recordings, yes, thank you. Okay, we'll go over here for a question.
Hi, I'm Lynn Daniels, East Bay Church, Oakland, California. We have Oakland represented. Yeah. So my question is regarding sacred activism and this umbrella that you've created. I'm former chair of DEI, and I'm concerned about their place. SMSC, Global Services, if they are being watered down, I don't know if that's the right word, or how is that going to function, them being under this new umbrella? Are they all going to be committees now?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So DEI is a committee.
Yes.
And so is SMSE and Global Services. So the reason that we created Sacred Activism, the umbrella, is so that we could all be on the same page. For example, let's talk about Earth Day, because this is a beautiful way that we are bringing all of it out. It's our coming out party, more or less. And SMSE is going to be doing some articles that will be on our webpage. One of the articles is The Earth Will Have Its Day. DEI will be promoting and putting on a webinar that goes along with Earth Day to inform and educate. We know that Global Services is going to talk about what's happening all over the world with climate change. And by the way, we have an alliance with David. I've asked David to align and be my eyes out there with a global climate change organization that is bringing business organizations and faith organizations together to solve climate change. It's an amazing group of people that have come together. The Ministry of Prayer will be doing a prayer-a-thon globally that day on Earth Day. So it is all of us coming together and not watering down, but uplifting and strengthening each part of DEI, of SMSE, of Global Services, of Ministry of Prayer. And one of the next steps that I haven't even mentioned yet is that this is what's happening now, but we need our children involved as well. You know, so our children can carry the message, and our youth we can have liaisons from youth. Does that help answer your?
It does. Just one more question.
Sure.
So then is the direction going to come from the social activism umbrella down to the different committees?
I love that question because I get to answer that.
Oh, good.
So the task force is turning into a committee, right?
Yeah.
And so the members of the task force will be on the committee, the first committee, but it is the chairs of the DEI, of SMSE, of Global Services, Ministry of Prayer, Heart of Peace, are the committee. So the chairs actually have a voice on the Sacred Activism team is made up of the chairs. So they have a voice. And it's a beautiful thing when people, like I said, collaborate together and say, what message do we want to get out there? Because we know how to do it. And now we're going to do it together.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great question. I think even to add to that too is creating the Sacred Activism page on the website puts all those resources on, and then you can take those resources and bring them back to your communities. And having all of these different pieces just adds this kind of multifaceted look that then can go directly into the communities as well.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think we all are, yeah. Okay, we're going to go to this side.
Hi, I'm Georgia Davis. I'm the ministerial intern at Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living, California. And I have a couple of questions that relate to someone in one of my classes, a minister in this room, and I won't out them, said, what other nonprofits expect those receiving our services to pay for their services? And it's really been stuck in me. And so sitting here and talking about the financials, I just had two questions about income and what we're doing with our money. So one was, what are we doing to receive passive income on the internet? And if anyone is doing it, you know, are we sharing it? Are we sharing how to produce passive income? And then the other is about our investments, because when I think about investing through large companies like Vanguard, are we looking at if where we're investing is attached to what we're investing from and what we want to invest into? So those are my questions.
Thank you. Thank you. The Science of Mind Foundation question, I feel, might be better served to be answered from them directly. And so I feel like we will definitely get your information and get back to you on that.
I did email Michael, well, when I had that question. So.
All right, we'll definitely follow up on that. And then when it comes to being more focused on bringing in income to the organization, we did do a Giving Tuesday outreach on social media for the first time this year. And we had testimonies on there, and we've upped our social media game to get our presence out there much more. We hired a contract grant writer that we're just getting started with. We'll be sending out our first grant for education for $300,000. So everybody send good energy to that. So we're starting that process. And then the development committee is developing more of a comprehensive plan. And a part of that plan is we're developing materials to take out into the community as well. And so using the different, like the social media campaigns and different pieces, we'll be educating people and then providing resources to back up that education. So that is started. And I know that our ex-treasurer right here has a few words to say.
Thank you for your question. And I thought I'm really intrigued by that notion of what nonprofit asked its constituencies for money. Well, I think that's kind of a old or an idea that really is focused more on nonprofits that are serving, how should I say this, victims, people who are underserved, trying to solve difficult problems out in the community. I've spent a lot of years in nonprofits, and definitely that's the conception. But nonprofits are not always nonprofits that are trying to help the underserved. Our nonprofit is very much about providing resources. So we provide resources through education and all the curriculum that our centers receive. We provide resources for, if you have a question about your center and how you can manage it through your bylaws or running a center, I mean, field services is there for all of our constituencies to support them. Michael Schlut does education around how to do some fundraising, and we're developing more ways to support our organization. So I see it more as a collective than as a nonprofit that is there to, feed the hungry or something like that. It looks like you have a follow-up.
Well, it's curious to me. I can't think of a nonprofit that does that other than a religious nonprofit.
We are a religious nonprofit.
Right. Can you really think of anyone that you know of that is not a religious nonprofit?
So I want to.
Sorry.
I think that this is an interesting conversation that we could have, but in the interest of time, maybe we could have this offline, and if there are other people interested, please reach out to me and we can continue this conversation. I'm not trying to put you off, but I'm just not sure it's on point.
I get it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin Fahrenholt. I'm the president of the board of directors for the Center of Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore. First off, I want to express some gratitude for Reverend Kathleen Sibley having been our interim minister last year. She was phenomenal in helping our community heal after we lost Reverend Raymond Anderson. So Reverend Kathleen, thank you so much. You are such a gift. Second of all, I have an observation and maybe a question. I was in the members meeting this morning, and I've listened to all the presentations today, and if I'm correct in what I'm hearing is that we are going from a top-down organization to a shared responsibility, shared leadership, collaboration kind of model. However, when I look at all the committees, I see Reverend X, Reverend Y, Reverend Z. I see Reverend X, Reverend A, B. So if we are really into diversity, equity, and inclusion, we need to see more members on those committees, and we need to see more practitioners on those committees, because we all bring our own perspective.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Please have them. Anybody who is a practitioner or a member who is interested in serving, we are welcoming them with open arms. This is.
Y'all heard that now. Y'all heard that. Everybody was
it
in
is
the meeting
not.
this morning. You hear that now. Okay, all the members that were in the meeting this morning, you heard what she just said. There's a place for us.
Robin, it's not a secret at all. It's
No,
not a
if you'd have
secret.
been in the membership meeting this morning, you would have thought it was a secret.
Okay. I think we are actually actively seeking members and practitioners. And so I look forward to hearing where you want to volunteer.
I'm on it. So, thank you again, Reverend Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything online?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I have a question from Deb Smith at CSL Grand Junction. And the inquiry is there a way for centers to be able to share fundraising ideas that work for them and to network with each other? Do we have anything established for that at this time? An inter-center network question.
Great question. Next month, I'm going to be doing a talk on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And I think it's for, is it Region 10? Region 11. And so everyone from Region 11 is invited to be on that Zoom with me, and we're going to talk about collaboration and how we do it. And I want to go to the regional reps. Each region, I think, is the way to approach this, and talk to each region about how we can get together, because it's going to be different. It's not going to be one size fits all. I think that each region is going to be a little different, and we can collaborate together. This is a mission for me, by the way. I really want to see us divorce ourselves from the old model of competition, you know, where if a center opens up 10 miles away, they have to get permission. I want to have a center on every block. We got to go?
You got to keep going. Over here. Thank you. Excellent.
Hi, my name's Richard Garrity. I'm from SLC Atlanta under Dr. David and Reverend Jean Bell. And I was in a membership meeting this morning, and I like that idea over there, but until we have more members at the membership meeting than we do at the ministers meeting and the practitioners meeting, that's not going to happen. So, but the reason I got up is during the membership meeting, just heard it again, that at the higher level of the organization, we have the magazine, we have online education. There's a lot of people getting onto that may actually live near a center that they don't even know about. So, and I know you're developing a plan, and I'm hoping part of that plan on the collaboration is that the local ministers can get a mailing list and send out personal invitations to people that have tapped in at the higher level that may live within 10, 15 miles of the center, and invite them to a talk. So,
No, thank you. Thank you. And that actually just came up on our marketing task force this past month. So great minds think alike. And we're looking at that and making sure confidentiality, and we're figuring out a way to make that happen. So that is a part of the plan.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, point of order. Point of order. First, for those of you who might be, have all your questions answered or beginning to want to do something else, please remember to vote. Please remember to vote. So those of you at home, please, all your delegates, we need you to vote on our elected officials, so thank you. And then the other point of order is that we have about 12 more minutes, so try to keep your questions concise. And remember that on Thursday at 3:30, the executive team is hosting a listening circle. So there'll be more opportunities for us to discuss, to hear you, to hear the things that are up for you. So over here.
Linda Rapon, CSL Rogue Valley in Medford, Oregon. And I'm actually speaking for an online delegate because she was texting me to come up and speak for her, and I happened to have the same question, so I said yes. So I'm asking for B. Curl, who's the youth director at a very dynamic youth program at New Thought CSL in Lake Oswego. And she's asking, what are we doing or planning to be doing to support younger families? Do we have new younger children curriculum? Are we doing outreach to help people build youth programs? What is the plan for that?
Let me bring up our youth director.
Because we have one.
Thank you for that question. I am in the process of co-creating and looking at what the curriculum already is. I know some of our curriculum was created a few years ago, so I know a number of the communities have been using that already. And I am looking to co-create a team of individuals interested in helping put together new curriculum. So and I know B, and I know Reverend Linda. So anybody else who's interested in helping co-create curriculum for our younger families, please reach out to me, and I would love to co-create and collaborate with you.
Great. Thank you. Also, marketing materials for recruiting young families. That's kind of, everybody needs that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Reverend Bobby Becker at the newly unified Namaste Center for Spiritual Living and Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living, now called Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living, Collaboration in Action. First, I wanted to thank Reverend Nan for her support of this community. Truly amazing. Linda in Practitioner Services and Reverend Julie Lobato, you know who you are. Thank you for supporting us through this 2-year process. My question is, and if this question is better served for the executive team, please just let me know as I ask this question. Reverend Michelle, you had talked about that there were 4 phases of your plan for this next year, but I didn't hear what those phases were. I'm not talking detail, I'm talking really high level. And you were speaking to sort of this overall change, we've turned a corner. It was a little vague for me, so maybe you could explain that. And if this, again, is not the right place, I am willing to defer this question until that listening session.
Well, and I think what I was referring to is that we have been going through phases, and we have more phases to go. And I can definitely have a conversation with you offline. What we're starting to see as we're gathering information and trying to not work in silos anymore and get more information and feedback from people in the communities is starting to be able to synthesize that information and put plans together this year. The strategic plan is really like the overarching plan for the organization. And that is something that we have started to meet on, and we will be getting feedback from the field and communities on that. And our goal for that is the end of 2024. And so last year was very much about stabilizing, right-sizing, getting the right people in the right roles, getting the right support for the right positions, working together, breaking down isolated areas, and looking to, you know, anywhere we can save on expenses and anywhere we can increase on income. And I feel like we've been able to like steady the ship. And then we've started the planning processes with all the task force that we've talked about. And those plans are starting to come to fruition. And so much of that is going to happen in 2024. And if that gives you a better idea, you know, good. If not, we can definitely talk offline.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Frank Mastoris. I am the treasurer at CSL Greater Baltimore. Two quick questions. Number one, will there be any physical presence at all for CSL, the overall organization, like an office somewhere? Just a question, because as we get rid of the building, there's going to be even an office somewhere?
Right now, we're looking at going totally virtual.
Okay. Second question. Having been involved with building another community at one point where we had to go through the whole bylaw process, which is daunting, and looking at the fact that I'm also a ministerial student looking at creating a focus ministry, thinking, do I want to go through all that paperwork? Is there a way of streamlining that process? Because that process is daunting, completely daunting. I have friends who are working on a teaching ministry now, and it's like you could spend hours and days creating the paperwork just to have your ministry.
Short answer is yes. We do have plans to automate and streamline that process.
God
and there
bless
are, yes, and there are parts of that process that can't be streamlined because if you're creating that legal affiliation in the United States, there's certain things that have to be followed. So that's what we're looking at now. We've actually shaved off as much as we feel that we can at the moment, but we're gonna work on that a little bit more. But what I think is, what it also comes down to, and I hesitate to even say this, is perception and perspective, because I've actually been supporting folks creating new communities I did it for just under 6 years in field services, and some folks got it done lickety-split, no problems whatsoever, and other folks, it was a daunting experience for them. And so I think it has to do with perspective, and we're here to provide as much support as possible. And sometimes they don't reach out and ask for the support. Or sometimes folks, I have found, have thought it was daunting because they might not have gotten the clarity that they were looking for yet, but when it did come, everything flowed and unfolded in a really wonderful way. So that's what I've experienced. Thank you for asking the question.
Okay, we'll go over to this side.
I'm J.J. Giaducci. I'm the Assistant Minister of Centers for Spiritual Living Greater Cincinnati. And I'm responsible for inclusion and social justice. And under that is housing, affordable housing. And I struggle with that in Cincinnati because we have a huge deficit throughout southwestern Ohio. And I'm seeing faith-based institutions get involved in it, such as the United Methodist Church has a community development arm. And I'm wondering, in terms of social activism, has this been anything that you have considered, or will you consider it?
Yes. And yes. It's very important. You know, as we continue to build the foundation, you know, one of the things that is really important to me is the struggle in our society of individuals who do not have the same resources as others. And so I think it's really important as we build out sacred activism that this is part of our goal and our intention. I come from a community in Kentucky where I think the numbers now are 6 out of 10 children experience food insecurity. We built at Ahava, we built a food pantry that not only served outwardly, but also served our own members. So it's very near and dear to my heart, and thank you for bringing it up, because I can't cover everything of our intentions today, so I'm really pleased that you asked that question, JJ.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, over here we have just another 2 minutes. And so let's take these as the last 2 questions, and that'll be great.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Rev G from Johannesburg, South Africa. 2 quick questions. I think the first question is similar to my colleague already raised the issue of money. Now, on the money issue, Reverend Sibley mentioned, I think we've got 350 communities, 66 members. That amounts to about 23,000 members. So the question then is, if we have about 23,000 members, and Holly's presentation, she said we have 400,000 followers. My question is, what is it that you're not doing right that you would have 400 people following our magazine, but you only have 23,000 members? That's question 1. Question 2, maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm a reverend at Centers for Spiritual Living, but I think our organization is the best. Now, in finances, best companies, you measure them with money. They say the Catholic Church is the richest church. They say Islam has about 1.6 trillion in resources. Jesus Christ of the Latter Day Saints, 200 billion. And I think the screenshot that was shared is we have less than 10 million in revenue. That doesn't sound right. Why?
That's a great question. Our spiritual leader might have some deep insight on that.
I'm actually going to give you some deep insight. Reverend Obakon, I so appreciate you, and I'm going to ask Reverend Obakon to come up when we end and do our closing prayer. I am working with this wonderful man they have a goal on the continent of Africa, which is 1 million people studying science of mind in 7 years. I think if it was possible for you to directly get every member in Africa here, you would. And I appreciate that. You know, it's all about getting our message out. It goes back straight to our message. We know we have the best message in the world. We really do. Oneness, you know, I believe in this organization. I believe that we can do it, and I know that we are planting seeds right now that I will never eat the fruit of. But our children will. And so it is all about continuing to expand and work with other organizations, you know, people who build houses, for example. Why aren't we wearing our shirts and helping build houses? Yeah, well, okay. That's what I'm talking about. This is a huge question, and you and I are going to have a conversation later. But I hope that this helps you to understand it is all about the message, and we need to support Africa with books so that they can do translation in their language and their culture that relates to our science of mind. It's everybody's science of mind. Remember what Dr. Holmes said, I'm not religious science. We are religious science. We together.
Okay.
Ashe.
Yeah.
when it comes to the Science of Mind magazine, that is something that we're looking at. So I know that that sounds like, oh yes, we're on it. We are on it. So we, you know, again, it's like right-sizing the ship. It's like doing a quick U-turn when you're driving a cruise ship, you know, and so this... This past year has been like, you know, so we're stabilizing as an organization, and we're getting ready to take off. And it's people like you and your passion and everybody here and your dedication to this organization that is helping us turn this ship. And it's the consciousness that we all bring when it comes to resources. And you were saying that because it is that collective consciousness of us moving forward together and breaking through to live an abundant CSL, and to know that and claim that for ourselves, because sometimes there's shyness when it comes to spirituality and raising funds. And so we are moving in that direction, and what you have said, we've heard. So thank you.
So it should be worth a few trillions in a year or two.
Yes, yes, yes. Final question.
I'll be very quick. Reverend Darrell Jones. I'm in Chicago. My ministry's Soul Gym is everywhere. I am the vice chair of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, and I just want to ask two things. It's one of the things I'm learning to do is ask, because I know that what we need, God has already provided. So let's remember that for our organization. Everything that we need is here, and we need some more folks in our committee. So if you are interested in celebrating the diverse nature of our organization and you want to celebrate that and let it be a magnet that draws people to this teaching, please email inclusion@csl.org or talk to me. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you.
I want to remind everybody that there will be that listening circle that we're doing at 3:30 on Thursday, and it's in the agenda. I want to thank you for your questions. I want to thank you for your engagement. It's so important to us. If we really want to be a we organization, we need all of us on the bus moving forward, moving our organization to greater and greater success. So thank you.
Just to echo that and to appreciate this lady right here, and both of these ladies right here. But this is Alice's last live convention as Leadership Council Chair, and I just want to say what an exceptional woman this is. Yes. She is the glue that has really helped us this past year with so many moving parts. And then this spiritual leader that we have here, and her heart and her care and her concern and her smart wit and sassiness and wonderfulness and gap, and all of it has just been a true honor to work together in this team and to share leadership and to work through things and to get to the other side with the best solution for Centers for Spiritual Living. Yeah. For all of us. So just appreciate them so much, and I will hand it over for the closing prayer.
Thank you.